Welcome to your best kept secret to success. I'm Prema, and this is where resonance replaces readiness and your frequency leads the way. You're entering a mini series within this podcast. These episodes carry a different tone. They're part of what I call NarrowGate, a frequency that filters out what no longer belongs and clarifies the deeper structure of your leadership. These are not just teachings, they are resonance gates. If one opens for you, it's because you're ready. Take a breath with me as we open the space together. Let the noise of the world fade away. You're not here to perform, to convince, or to produce on command. This episode is a returning to power. Not the kind others recognize, but the kind you carry. The kind that doesn't chase reach, but radiates resonance. This is for leaders done performing visibility. For those ready to reclaim authority by coming home to coherence. If you've never taken the Sacred Wealth Archetype quiz, it's a beautiful place to start. You'll discover one of your unique Sacred Wealth Code archetypes, which holds the key to your aligned purpose and prosperity. You'll find the link with the show notes, and it's free. We will do a quick planetary update for my full planetary updates. They're on my YouTube channel. And we will also do at the end of the episode an oracle card reading from the Sacred Wealth Code Oracle deck, and also an integration practice to make sure you integrate and become embodied with what you receive that's yours today. In October, the tone really shifts in a profound way because not only are we past the eclipse season, but mid-month on October 18th, Jupiter enters Cancer, its sign of exaltation. It's a position of great dignity where the sage archetype reclaims its full benevolence and clarity and embodiment of wisdom. This is a resonance alignment, not a megaphone moment. Jupiter's been in Gemini since May of 2025, and it is moving into Cancer for a short time. It'll retrograde back into Gemini. I'll give you all the play-by-play, week by week as we go. And Jupiter has spent many months in Gemini. It's a sign of movement, curiosity, and sort of multifaceted learning. While this transit activated communication and social networks and an expanded field of knowledge, exchange, it also fragmented our focus at times, pulling us in too many directions or asking us to gather more before integrating. Now, as Jupiter shifts into Cancer, the tone changes from dispersed communication to emotional coherence, from mental expansion to soulful rooting, devotion, from reaching outward to leading more from within. This supports everything we are naming in this episode. You are not here to broadcast. You are here to tend the flame. Jupiter in Cancer is embodied teaching and soulful influence. Cancer is a water sign of nurturing, belonging, devotion to what matters most. And here, Jupiter's visionary energy becomes protective, generative, and emotionally wise. It becomes less about ideas that impress and more about truths that actually nourish. And this is where the teacher, another one of Jupiter's archetypes, doesn't perform. The guide who doesn't market, the one who shares when the field is ready, not when the strategy says to. And for sacred wealth architects, this is a time to anchor into what you know deep in your bones, to let your wisdom be felt, not just heard, to shift from collecting tools to becoming the structure that holds them. There's a quiet authority in Jupiter's exaltation. It doesn't need applause. It speaks when it's time, and when it does, it blesses. There's a bit of a karmic interplay with Saturn. As Jupiter enters Cancer, it forms an important energetic dialogue with Saturn retrograde in Pisces. They are both teacher planets. Jupiter is the expansive sage, and Saturn is the more of the planet of discipline. It is the and I have it here behind me if you're watching me on the video, it is the administrator, the organizer, the discipliner of time. And their interaction throughout October suggests, well, it'll actually be longer than that, but long-term visions are ready to crystallize. So what have you been holding long-term as far as your visions go? But they'll only crystallize through patience, emotional maturity, and sacred timing. And you have a sacred timing in your soul blueprint, in your chart. Your true authority will not rush. It will root. So this exalted Jupiter transit will be for a short time, and it will come into Jupiter's full stay in May, the end of May or June 1st of 2026. But this is a sort of a sneak preview, and we get to try this on while it's moved into Cancer for the short time that it'll stay there before it retrogrades back into Gemini. That it mirrors the shift from public influence to resonant authority. And you're being asked not to reach farther, but to stand truer. Not to market louder, but to live deeper. What blesses others now is not the size of your audience. It's the presence in your voice. Let your brilliance, let your wisdom speak only when called. Let your service be structured, not scattered. Let your soul lead, not your strategy. If you're curious about your own Vedic astrology chart and you want a soul blueprint reading or sacred wealth code reading to unlock your personal blueprint, I offer both. All the details are down below with the show notes. This is the second gate in the NarrowGate series. If episode 32 stripped the surface away, this episode 33 roots you into what's truly yours to hold. Visibility is not authority. Let's begin here. Visibility and authority are not synonymous. We live in a world where influence is artificially inflated. Algorithms decide who is seen. Trends decide what is valued. But resonance? That's beyond the grid. Imagine two ways to get your message across. One is a megaphone. You blast your voice across the square, trying to reach as many people as possible. The other is a radio frequency. No one sees it. No one hears it until the right receiver is tuned. And then it's as clear as day. The megaphone is public influence. Loud, visible, but fleeting. The radio wave is resonance. It's encoded, refined, and it reaches those who are designed to hear it without needing to chase or convince. You are not meant to be louder. You are meant to be clearer. You can speak to 12 and shift the internal architecture of a lineage. You can go viral and still be empty. When the world chases numbers, the narrow gate brings you back to origin frequency. That deep, undistorted tone of your soul. It doesn't need a platform. It needs coherence. I remember sitting in a room years ago, one of those big events with the lights and the stage and the speaker who had built a massive following. The kind of person who knew how to stir emotion, how to sell from the stage, how to get applause. And while everyone around me was nodding and taking notes, I just kept feeling nothing. It wasn't unkind. It just wasn't resonant. There was charisma, but no depth. Visibility, but no signal. And then later that month, I had a short call with someone you've probably never heard of. No big platform, no polished branding. Just presence, just frequency. You know, she said one sentence and it landed like a bell in my system. I still remember it. I still feel it. And that's when I knew influence is not always authority. Some voices echo for years, even if no one else hears them. And some disappear the moment the applause dies down. Like a bell, just because it's louder doesn't mean it's tuned. Resonance is not measured, it's remembered. The frequency of your truth does not live in numbers. It lives in depth, in tone, in coherence. Let's use the forest here. The oldest trees don't shout. They're rooted, woven into the mycelial field, communicating through a deep, invisible intelligence. They don't need to be seen. They remember who they are. So do you. This isn't a call to be hidden. It's a call to be true. You're not diluting your voice to be digestible anymore. You're distilling it to be real. So if you've ever walked through a forest, you've probably admired the trees, their height, their beauty, how they catch the light. I was just doing some hiking in southern Arizona, having this very experience. But what most people don't see is what's happening underfoot. Beneath the forest floor is a vast web of life, that mycelial network. It's not loud, it's not visible, but it's what connects the entire ecosystem. Trees share nutrients through it. They warn each other through it. That's how resonance works. It's not what the world claps for, it's what life recognizes. It's what your field carries, even when no one's watching. Some of the most truly powerful leaders in this moment are not the ones at the top of the social feed. They're the ones who know how to listen below the surface. The ones whose signal travels not by shouting, but by stillness. So reflect on this. Where have you confused loudness with impact? Real power doesn't seek confirmation. Let's name this distortion. Public influence seeks applause. It thrives on validation loops like shares, likes, comments, reviews. It feeds the part of us that wants to be chosen. But resonant authority? It's chosen itself. It's rooted enough to stand alone because it doesn't derive its value from how many see it. When you no longer outsource your significance, you become a field of remembrance for others. You no longer need to convince. You become a tuning fork. There's something sacred about not needing to be understood right away. I can't tell you how many times I've spoken a truth into Sacred Wealth Mastery field that landed silently. No reaction, no comment, just stillness. And then, weeks later, sometimes months, I hear from someone who shares that it was that moment that began a quiet revolution in them. One moment that comes to mind is with Suzanne. She didn't say much in the actual moment, but later she reflected that something I said, not even directed at her, began to unravel a distortion she'd been carrying for years. She shifted the way that she made decisions, the way she showed up in her work, and the way she held herself. No applause, no fanfare, just transformation. Yes, just transformation. Resonant authority doesn't ask for confirmation, but it builds fields that keep shaping people long after the sound has faded. So reflect on this. I don't need to be seen to hold what's true. This is a tone shift. This isn't about rejecting visibility. It's a resurrection of presence. You're not here to build a platform. You're here to build a temple. The world needs fewer personalities and more pillars. Fewer broadcasts and more beacons. When you shift from seeking reach to serving structure, you enter the true gate. This is not the end of being seen. It's the end of being distorted to be seen. You're not here to gather followers. You're here to tend a flame. Reflect on what are you tending that no one sees but is deeply true? What are you tending that no one sees but is so deeply true? Sacred wealth mastery isn't something you sign up for. It's a gate you remember. When you're ready to walk it, there's no pressure here, no pitch. If you're feeling the frequency, you're already near the door. Inside, you'll find the architecture to hold your wealth, your service, your true power without distortion. If it's time, the gate will open and you'll find the invitation below in the show notes. We'll do an oracle card reading from the Sacred Wealth Code Oracle deck. The deck, the book, and the journal, Your Sacred Wealth Code, links are down below, and also you can grab them on Amazon. We'll see what the oracle cards, the archetypes, have to say today. About what we're exploring together. But if you have something that's on your heart, that's on your mind, feel free to hold that question and open to the answer. The first card that came in is one of Saturn's cards. Now, this is the Advocate, and it's I align with the greater good for all. And the Advocate's here to remind us that when we hold that structure of being here for the greater good of all, that includes ourselves first and foremost, because what's good for you is good for everyone if it's truly, truly good for you. But if you stand in that truth, you will support many without having to convince one. The King. This is the Sun's card, one of the leadership cards. I powerfully lead my mission. The King steps in to remind us. The great leader steps in. Not just a leader, but a leader that's very in touch with their mission. That if you are not in touch with your mission, it is time to ground deeply in it and speak from it. And those who are meant to be part of that won't be able to help but sense, hear, and resonate to it. You'll never have to convince one once you're fully standing in the energy of your mission and you're willing to lead it, whether anybody else sees it or not. The King, the Sun. We'll do an integration practice because we don't just need information, not that this is resonance and remembrance, but we want to bring it into embodiment so you can walk with it and it can walk with you. Tend the flame. This is not about reaching more people. This is about staying faithful to the fire that was entrusted to you. So take a moment. Let your hands rest on your heart, on your belly. Close your eyes. Take 3 slow, deep breaths. Feel your body, the rise and fall of your chest. Feel the quiet strength of your own frequency. This isn't about broadcasting. This is about tending the flame. Let this phrase echo through you. Walk with it. Return to it. Tending the flame. And let these questions drop into your heart and let the truth arise. Nothing to reach for. Where have I mistaken visibility for truth? First thing that comes up. And in the integration practice, if you need more time, just pause. What is the frequency that I'm truly here to anchor? What flame is mine to tend, regardless of applause? Not answering from your mind. Just let the questions resound through your field. If something doesn't immediately arise, it will float up. If you're pulling something down from your mind, you'll feel this pulling down. You may feel that knowing rise up later on a walk, in a moment of silence, or in your dreams. Trust your own process. But please remember, you are not here to gather followers. You are here to tend the flame. If this tone of reverence speaks to you, something within you, you may already be in the field of sacred wealth mastery. There's nothing to chase, only something to remember. And you'll find the link down below in the show notes, as well as the links for everything else. If you'd like personal guidance to align with your true nature, your purpose, your prosperity, your service, a sacred wealth code reading, a soul blueprint reading with me, and we'll look into the timing written in your chart. The healing circle on the full moon, every full moon, is simply ready to receive you how you are and support you and reset you in a sacred way every month on the full moon. It's a beautiful place to restore coherence and realign with your own inner architecture. All the links are down below in the show notes or wherever you're watching or listening to this. And as always, I invite you to subscribe, to follow, and to share this podcast with someone who might need it today. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please leave a review. Your words help this message reach others. And on Spotify, you can simply like or leave me a comment. And also on YouTube, like, share, leave a comment. I appreciate it so much. Thank you for being here. Remember, your soul already carries the blueprint for your wealth and your purpose. When you live in alignment with that truth,